Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome to the Tim Black Show. I got a great guest for you today. It is none other than Ben Cohen. He is the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. We all love it. We can't live without it. And he's also the national co-chair for the Bernie Sanders 2020 campaign. Ben, how the heck are you doing, sir?
I am just rocking my socks off, baby. I am happy. I am glad to be here on the Tim Black Show. I've never been on the Tim Black Show before, and I like new things. I like new people, and I like Bernie lovers. You know, I'm a Bernie lover. You're a Bernie lover.
Absolutely.
Let's be Bernie lovers together.
That's it, man. Let's just share alike, man. This is great, man. So Ben, what is it? Why did you become a co-chair? What inspired you to do this? Because they selected you, right?
I was indeed selected. That's correct. It's it's a highly coveted position. You know, not everybody gets to be one of Bernie's co-chairs. I've been a Bernie fan for about 40 years.
Wow.
That was 40 years ago is when Bernie became mayor of Burlington, where I was living and where I'm still living. And so I've seen this guy in action for 40 years. I mean, and he's been consistent, fighting for justice from the very, very beginning, before it was cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now, amazingly, and he was so far ahead of his time, and now everybody's catching up with him.
Yeah,
they're all stealing his lines.
Yeah, they are.
I was amazed. I tell you, I was amazed. I saw a video that his campaign released on Martin Luther King Day, and it was a video of him speaking in the 1980s in Burlington, Vermont, on Martin Luther King Day. I mean, I don't even know if it was officially Martin Luther King Day back then, but he was celebrating it. And
King was clearly a very great man. And as a result of his work and the work of thousands of other people in the civil rights movement, clearly enormous changes took place in this country. But on the other hand, we have got to go into our hearts and into our guts and to rekindle a vision of human dignity, of the kind of society that every person in this room knows can exist. It's not going to happen now. But we have got to hold on to that vision, because if they take away that vision of a new world and a decent society, then everything is lost. And maybe to quote Martin Luther King in the civil rights movement, I do believe we shall overcome. Thank you.
Man, he's just been fighting for justice. I mean, that's right. Who he is down into his soul. I was trying to remember, I don't know, a few weeks ago, how is it that I first got into Bernie? What was it that he was doing? And I heard him give that speech, and now I know. Now I remember.
That's what it was. That's what sparked it all. For people's edification, so people understand, Ben, what does a co-chair do? Like, do you sit with someone on the chair, or how does this work out, man?
You get to hang out with your fellow co-chairs every now and then, with Nina Turner and Julene, who's the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And with Ro Khanna. And you get to go around and talk up Bernie. Sometimes I was going around introducing him. For a while, I was working with his staff in D.C., just kind of doing whatever's needed whenever I can. Right now, actually, I've been working on putting together a business advisory committee for Bernie, so that he's got a bunch of business people that he can point to and say, those guys support me. They agree with what I'm talking about. People hear that I'm anti-business, and I'm not. I mean, he's always said, he's just looking for businesses that are not raping and plundering the society. He's looking for businesses like Ben & Jerry's, and there's a lot of them. there is more and more, especially smaller ones. It's interesting. I mean, on this board of advisors for Bernie, there's the guy who started the Calvert Fund, which was the first ever socially responsible business fund. And, just amazing people.
That's a great point that you make, because when you met Bernie, had Ben & Jerry's already launched? Were you already in business?
We were launching at about the same time. We opened in 1978. I think he became mayor of Burlington in 1981. Okay. I remember being at his victory party, scooping ice cream. It was, he won by 10 votes. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, nobody thought he had a chance.
Exhilarating, man. That's a real nail biter right there, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't know that you were political, Ben. You seem like a heck of a nice guy to be so political. I would never have thought that after talking offline with you.
There's a lot of nice guys that are political. I mean, there's you, there's me, there's Bernie, there's,
excuse me.
Yeah,
but you seem so laid back, Ben, like maybe, just politics gets so funky, and you see what's going on now. It's so polarizing and crazy all over the place. I just wonder, like, I see that you have a couple of things in your Twitter profile that you support. What are some of the things that you politically support, Ben?
I don't know. What'd you see on my Twitter profile?
I think it was like Green New Deal or
and getting money out of politics.
That's what it was. That's what it was. My favorite.
I've been working really hard on that for a bunch of years because it's the root problem. I mean, if we didn't have money in politics, we wouldn't have all these poisons in our environment. We wouldn't have all these private prisons.
Right.
We would have universal health care by now. I mean, money in politics, I mean, it's supposedly government of the people, by the people, for the people, but in reality, it's government of the money, for the money, by the money.
Absolutely.
And, politicians are not representing their constituents. They're representing the money. They're representing the people who finance their campaigns. I mean, it's legalized bribery. That's what even John McCain called it. Politicians in our country say, oh, look at all those other countries, they're corrupt. And, what's going on in other countries is that it's illegal to bribe politicians. And so when it happens, it's corruption. In our country, it's legal to bribe politicians. So we're not corrupt because it's within the law.
Absolutely. We made corporations like people. We look at them like they have same rights as you and I. So that's part of the
unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
yeah.
Man. Unbelievable. So Ben's known Bernie Sanders for 40 years plus. And, there's this narrative that's going around. Hillary Clinton recently did a interview with the Hollywood Reporter. They also have the special on Hulu. And I know you heard about this. She says that no one likes Bernie. So that's a crazy question to ask you, obviously. But what is your take? What is your experience with Bernie? How do you respond to that?
And, Bernie has said from the very beginning that he wants this campaign to be about the issues. And that's the way he's been for 40 years. I mean, it's about the issues. It's not really, whether you like this guy or don't like this guy. It's about, do you agree with his or her policies? And so for Bernie, it's all about his or her policies. And I think, as Bernie said, on a good day, his wife likes him.
Right. That's what really matters. I mean, and at the end of the day, are you going to help make my life better? Are you going to make my kids' lives better? You're going to make my neighbors' lives better? Like, what's your agenda? I tell people that all the time. It should be about your agenda, not your personality or your gender or whatever. Like, what you plan to do for us is what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, you look at Bernie's policies, and they are policies of kindness and love and compassion. And yeah, that's what I want in a president.
Yeah, yeah. Kids we don't know, kids we may never meet, people all across the globe. I mean, it's such a big job. Well, when you said you know, in your co-chair capacity, have you had a chance to go to Iowa? Do you do that? Do you travel?
I have been to Iowa. As a matter of fact, Jerry and I are going to Iowa beginning of next week. We're going to be in New Hampshire the end of this week, I think tomorrow. Yeah. It's a lot of traveling, a lot of talking. We like to scoop ice cream wherever we go. So
that's a great way to break the ice, definitely. Literally, right?
We're going to be doing that. Yeah, I mean, ice cream is such a happy, joyful thing. I mean, and believe me, getting Bernie Sanders elected is a really happy, joyful thing. I mean, it's a lot of work, but man, I mean, think about the happiness and joy that's going to happen once we get him in, you know, because the way it's really going to be happy and joyful is that I made a deal with Bernie. And when he gets elected, I am going to become the minister of ice cream. And as the minister of ice cream, I promise a pint in every freezer, a sundae in every bowl.
I love it, man. I don't know if my sugar level loves it, but I love it. I think it's amazing. Great stuff.
Well, you know, I mean, your sugar level, you know, you just need to work out a few hours.
Yeah, that's all.
You eat a scoop, you work out an hour.
There you go.
Another scoop, work out an hour. Yeah.
You know, eat a scoop while you work out. You know, that works too.
Even better.
You know, recently, well, I asked you about Iowa because, you know, all my Bernie supporters, they're wondering how things are going in Iowa. We're ready for the caucus, and that's such a process. Everybody's on pins and needles. How do you feel about the campaign, the boots on the ground in Iowa? Do you got a good feeling? Do you feel positive about what's about to happen?
Yeah, I feel really positive. I mean, but you know, it's all about getting people who support Bernie to go out and actually caucus for him or vote in the primary. I mean, the reality of this campaign is that the majority of people who support Bernie Sanders' policies are younger people, and they are the people who are least likely to vote. And, you know, if you support him, but you don't vote, that ain't gonna help.
Right.
I mean, the reality is that it's the people who tend to vote in the least proportion, you know, the people who are least likely to vote, that are the people that are the key to his winning. So people got to get off their butts, go to the caucus, vote in the primaries. You know, I don't know if this is legal. I don't know how to do it, but if you vote in the primary and you can prove it to me, I'll give you a free scoop.
Bribe by ice cream. No, I don't think that's illegal. I think people do it all the time. I know I do it with my kids from time to time. Do your chores, right?
Incentivizing good behavior.
That's all it is, man. Positive reinforcement. You know? So, I don't know, man, how much you watch this stuff, but there was a dust up about Joe Biden, and it was talking about Social Security, and a lot of people in my demographic that I try to reach, people over 50, people of color here in the inner cities. I talked to them about Joe Biden, and Joe Biden had Bernie put out a commercial about Joe Biden saying he was going to cut. He tried not only to cut it once or twice, but 4 times he tried to cut Social Security. Have you heard about this new Bernie Sanders ad?
Absolutely. I mean, Bernie has always said, like I said, he doesn't want to focus on personalities. He doesn't want to do any kind of character attacks. He wants to focus on people's records. And the reality is of Biden's record is that he was siding with the Republicans. At times he was leading the fight to cut things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Well, we've got some bad news for them. We are not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand benefits.
And Bernie was leading the fight to keep Social Security benefits and to keep Social Security as a public institution.
Well,
I remember there was a time when they were talking about, what was it called? The chain CPI, that there was this big movement in Congress, and, it seemed like it was going to go through, and the effect of it was that it ends up cutting your Social Security benefits. And Bernie he founded the Preserve Social Security caucus, and he won. He shut that move down.
Well, yeah, I actually hadn't heard of that, but I do know that when they look to make cuts, like Donald Trump's making cuts right now that adversely impact vulnerable people, seniors, people who who don't have the means, people who live in public housing. They're cutting food stamps. I've never understood why these cuts. We never look to our military to cut our military, but we always look to cut those programs to help the people that need it the most.
It's really true. I mean, I remember some politicians saying that, a program like Head Start. I mean, I don't know what its budget is. I don't know. Maybe it's $5 billion, $10 billion. Has way more scrutiny than the Pentagon budget that has a budget of $760 billion. It's absurd. I mean, there's certainly, I've worked a lot on the issue of the Pentagon budget, and it makes no sense at all. You look at the countries that are our potential adversaries, and if you put all of them together, we're probably spending 3 or 4 times much on our Pentagon as they are on their militaries.
Absolutely. I think it's the next 10 countries. We spend as much as them all combined. So,
and most of those are our allies.
There you go. Wow. Well, so you said adversaries, right? Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. That would be like China, Russia. Yeah.
Right. And we call them our potential adversaries, China and Russia. I guarantee you that neither one of those countries has any desire to invade, take over, attack the United States. I mean, think about it. The U.S. has the most powerful military in the world. We can't even occupy Iraq or Afghanistan. How are they going to occupy a country like us?
Right. Absolutely. And with all of the armaments we have not only our military, but our average citizens are armed to the teeth as well. Like a gun for every person, like 3 guns for every human being or something crazy like that. So, yeah. Speaking
Ain't
of
nobody coming to get us.
No one's coming knocking on your door, that's for sure. Speaking of that, though, in Vermont, what's the culture of Vermont? Because I've heard a couple of people say, things are different in Vermont as opposed. I'm in Maryland, by the way, Ben.
Maryland?
Yeah, Maryland, right near D.C.
Yeah.
And the gun culture, people say, well, Bernie's too friendly on guns. Could you explain to people the differences in Iowa, how people see firearms? Is it any different, you think, than say in a metropolitan city like where I stay?
Oh, it's hugely different. I mean, here in Vermont, there are a lot of hunters. There's a lot of game around. There's deer hunters, there's bear, there's I don't know. There's there's some kind of I think there's panthers, there's bobcats, there's I've got a porcupine that's been driving me crazy. I'm, I think about getting a gun to shoot the damn porcupine. I mean, it's eating my house. The interesting thing about porcupines, I know this is a little off the subject, but in Vermont, it's not legal to trap and relocate a porcupine. It's legal to shoot it, but you can't relocate it onto somebody else's property because it's considered to be a nuisance.
It's a terrorist, right?
So yeah, I mean, guns here in Vermont, I mean, they're rifles. I mean, they're,
right.
They're hunting rifles. And, right, as opposed to handguns or
right.
semi-automatic weapons that people in the cities use to shoot each other.
Yeah, a little bit different mentality.
It's a really different head. Yeah.
And people grew up with it. Like I know I have some friends who, when they were in school, they used to have classes on guns. Like, people don't realize that there are different parts of this country. Not the whole country is the same, and the cultures are different from state to state. That was my point.
Yeah, I mean, if there's wild animals to hunt, and people are so inclined, it seems like it's okay to have a hunting rifle and shoot them. But in cities, you don't really find wild animals. Squirrels
don't count. We got squirrels here. Deer. We got deer, we got squirrels, and like you said, we got raccoon and possums, but that's about it. So, Ben, look, I want to thank you for spending so much time. There's a part of the show that I do where, when I have great guests like you, Ben, where it's for my VIP folks, the people that help support the show. Did you have a story of Bernie? What I want to do is humanize Bernie to a lot of the viewers. They say Bernie's not a nice guy. He's not a fun guy. He doesn't hang out. Even though I see lots of video of him shooting baskets and playing baseball, softball. Do you have a story or experience with Bernie that's okay to share where kind of humanizes Bernie to the listeners so people know that Bernie's all right?
Well, I certainly remember running into Bernie in the airport, maybe while he was still a member of the House, a congressman. And, I said, how's it going? He said, Ben, you know how bad you thought things were in the Capitol building? Well, it's a whole lot worse. And then, I was over at his house and, playing softball with him. And, he's a great guy on the field. Got a good sense of humor, but, mostly he's got a passion for justice. And, people say, when are you going to stop ranting and raving about, how the society is unequal? And when are you going to say something different? And, he said, when the rich have less and when the poor have more, I'm going to change my tune.
Man, I personally love it. I think that's the type of person I want. I want somebody who's about business, who has a clear objective of what they want to accomplish, and who won't go in giving away the house. Some of these people seem like they'll go in and they'll bargain against themselves. They'll negotiate against themselves.
Well, I came up with an ice cream for Bernie for this run. And it was called Bernie's Back. Bernie's Back. And the base of the ice cream is hot cinnamon. It tastes just kind of like an atomic fireball. And down the middle of the ice cream is this English toffee brittle molded into the shape of a spine. Wow. Because he's got such a stiff backbone. And on the very top was this huge chocolate disc that covered the whole top. And that symbolized all the wealth that's risen to the top 1% over the past 20 years. But the important thing that we were talking about was how he ain't going to bend. I mean, that guy is solid. He hasn't bent on these issues for 40 years. I don't think he's about to. And he's been really clear that, he can't do it on his own, that once we get him elected, that's just the beginning. And we need to show up and help him move his agenda forward, because he's going to be up against a lot of resistance. But you can be sure he ain't going to bend.
Absolutely, man. Ben, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking it out with us and explaining, how the co-chair position works. Definitely for all your work you do for Bernie Sanders, and also the great ice cream as well. Thank you so much for that. And is there anything else that I missed?
There is one thing that you missed. I was looking around on your website. I was seeing a lot about Johnson's and cornbread. And so it sounds like you're concerned that somebody's stealing your cornbread.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's not me. But the other interesting thing was, it seems like, there's this idea that tell me if I'm right or not, that if you're a Johnson, you're kind of a good guy.
Yeah, everybody's a Johnson. We're all Johnsons.
Well, what's incredibly I don't know, what do you call it, ironic or coincidental, or some people say there are no coincidentals. Me and my friends, probably 20 years ago, we were out on this island and we came up with the idea that we were all Johnsons.
What?
That we became part of the Johnson family. Wow. We all had Johnson names, and we were all Johnsons. So I don't know if we predated your Johnsonness, but we are all Johnsons together, clearly.
Well, definitely, man. Look, we spread the Johnson love from sea to shining sea, and just share the commonality between all people. And it helps, man, because when I'm talking to groups of people, I don't have to worry about pronouns. I don't have to worry about, making sure I call you a he or she or whatever. We're all Johnson.
I'm just a Johnson.
You're just a Johnson. Well, no matter what color you are, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your orientation is, doesn't matter. We're all the same. We all want the same things. Better lives.
All Johnsons.
We're all Johnsons, brother.
So we had Johnson names. I was Cube Johnson for Big Bad Ben Johnson. B cubed, B to the third power. And Jerry was Dub Johnson. And that was because he was kind of a large guy at one time. We were both a lot larger when we were more active in the ice cream business. I was 50 pounds heavier when I was in charge of R&D and quality control. But anyhow, Jerry and I were skating around in this skate-a-thon. It was a benefit for some cerebral palsy. And Jerry had a special T-shirt made on his, and it said on the back, caution, wide load. And double wide, he had a license plate that said DBLDP, double dip. And so he became Dub Johnson.
Dub.
And Dub. So he's Dub Johnson, I'm Cube Johnson. What are you, like Tim Johnson? I mean, you got a regular Johnson name?
Yeah, I'm just Johnson. That's it.
Johnson.
Johnson.
The king of the Johnsons. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, thank you, B Cube Johnson.
Yes, thank you.
Man, hey Ben, man, it's been a hell of a pleasure talking to you. You might. I think you should do more press. How much press do you do, Ben, because you're fun, man. You're great at this.
Well, you bring it out of me, man. I mean, I'm more fun because I'm with a fun person, and we're Johnsons. It's not often I get interviewed by another Johnson. And, we have kind of a simpatico thing going on here. I'm hoping that someday we can do like live in person, 3-dimensional chat, live 3D chat. With when Bernie Johnson and Cube Johnson.
Yeah, that definitely we can make that happen, man. When Bernie's president, when he wins this thing, I'll be sure to come down to Vermont. That's what we'll
Excellent.
Do. Definitely.
Excellent. And I'll come down to Maryland.
Yeah, do that, man. Do it. Ben, just so you know, man, I've interviewed Ro Khanna and Nina Turner. And like they've all been on the show. I'm going to get Jane at some point. And hopefully Bernie at some point. But, yeah, man, thank you for doing this, man. It means a whole lot to us. We really support the heck out of you.
Pleasure to be here with you, Tim.
That's it, man. That's it, guys. Go to Bernie2020.com, I guess. What is there another website you think they should go to?
I think it's BernieSanders.com.
There you go, BernieSanders.com. How could I forget that? Go to BernieSanders.com, guys, and give generously to Bernie Sanders campaign. We need Bernie in the White House, guys, and we need him to win this primary and then beat Donald Trump. Anything else, Ben?
Get your butt out and vote.
By popular demand, Johnson is here. I have new Johnson designs in my shop. If you want to pick them up, check them out. They are hilarious. They are revolutionary. And they're all Johnson. You're going to love them, man. Check them out. Both parties suck, Johnson. It's one of my favorites. Independent media only, Johnson. Keep it real. We are all Johnson. We are. We're one big community, guys. Go check it out. Independent media only. Johnson's in the house. Both parties suck, Johnson. We are here. They got a special going on right now. Free shipping. Get it today. Wolfpack. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack at patreon.com. Tim's Take Live. Also, stay on the lookout for more content at timblacktv.com.